Thanks for tuning in to Category 5 Technology TV. I'm your host, Robbie Ferguson, and this show is designed to give you a venue to ask your technological questions and get answers right here live on the air. All you have to do is give me a call at 705-739-1056, or you can visit us online at www.tv.robbyf.com, or you can drop me an email, and you can also MSN me at tv@robbyf.com. For today's show, I'm going to be introducing a new operating system. Well, not a new operating system, but a new version of perhaps the #1 Linux operating system for the desktop, which is Ubuntu. And today we're going to be looking at the new Gutsy Gibbon, which comes out in, I guess, 9 days, on October 18th of 2007. Neat thing about Gutsy Gibbon is that they're going to be introducing, now when this is released, now I've got an advanced beta copy here, but they're going to be integrating the visual desktop effects that we've been talking about over the past couple of episodes directly into the operating system as a default. I've loaded it up on a system here, and we can kind of see now it's just in the screensaver now, but we fade right into the desktop, and it's just absolutely beautiful what the people at Ubuntu have done with their operating system, and just tweaking and making it everything kind of integrated and ready to go right out of the box. So what you're looking at here is the GNOME desktop of Ubuntu. Basically, I've just put a wallpaper on it and added my my cube and things like that. But the Compiz Fusion program, which is the 3D kind of special effects end of the Ubuntu Gutsy Gibbon desktop, is included by default. So if your graphic hardware and your video hardware, everything meets the minimum system requirements for that, it's going to automatically activate that for you. So it saves a lot of the the guesswork as to installing things and getting the proper plugins and things up and running with the operating system, because it's all detected at boot time. So it also helps with the fact that if you ever change a graphics card in your computer, it's going to be automatically detected now, and your drivers are going to be very easy to install now. And this is something that Ubuntu has been doing, I believe it's just since Feisty. It might have been Edgy as well, but they've added in here restricted driver manager. So when I first installed the operating system, the first thing that I'm prompted with is the fact that it's detected my NVIDIA video card, and so all I've had to do is just check off this checkbox and say OK, and that installed the drivers for me directly off the internet, just like we've done in the past, but completely automated, no having to think about it really at all. And then I just set up my cube, and some of the neat, now we're going to get into more of the features of the Compiz Fusion system as opposed to the Barrel project. And what Compiz Fusion is kind of it's the migration of, or the remigration of Compiz and the Barrel project. Way back when, I don't know, a couple years ago, there was just Compiz, and then it was forked out, so they became two projects. There was Barrel and there was Compiz. Now they've come back together. So Ubuntu Gutsy Gibbon is the first desktop operating system that I know of that's actually integrating it by default. So this is a big deal. So this is something that you're going to be able to have right out of the box. I'd love to take your questions. If you'd like to log on to MSN, you can MSN me at tv@robbyf.com. You can also email me at that same address. I'll be taking any questions having to do with technology. And if you have any particular questions specifically to do with Ubuntu and what we're doing here today, I'd love to answer those for you as well. I'm just looking at some questions coming in here, so let's jump right back to Ubuntu here. So this is just a clean installation of the desktop environment. There's so many new things that are just absolutely astounding. You're going to love this. I'm just going to load up a couple of new windows here just to get a few things going. And you can see, obviously, we've got all the visual effects that you would expect from a modern operating system. Now, it should be pointed out as well, I mean, we're doing all this, and you're seeing the beauty of the Ubuntu desktop, and it should be noted that this is an absolutely free operating system, so you can actually go to their website and download the entire operating system and just burn it to a CD and install it on your computer. You can even test it directly from the CD without installing it, and you'd be able to use that like that. So this is absolutely free, everything that you're looking at here. We're going to be looking at some games a little later on as well, and I think you'll be amazed at the quality of some of the games that are available for the Linux desktop. So I'm just loading up a whole bunch of windows here just to kind of demonstrate that some of the special effects that are included with this system. Now, we've kind of come to love the new style of task switching like this, the Alt Tab, where you see a preview of the window that you're working with. It's very, very cool, very nice to have that thumbnail preview, but Compass Fusion has taken it one step further and given us this 3D virtual kind of look to it with the reflections. You can see the reflections down at the bottom. Just really takes it to the next level. People who are familiar with Windows Vista would have seen very similar effects to that. And we can actually, just by changing a few little settings here, let's just pull up a couple of things here. You can just see the vastness of Compass Fusion. These are all different plugins, modules that you can modify completely, whether it be the wobbly windows, if you want to change the way that the cube is reflected when you're spinning it around like this. If you want to change your backdrop there, which is called a sky dome, you can do that as well. The sky dome that I've got here, I've actually put up on my own personal website, and I'll give you a link to that. And the desktop wallpaper is from my favorite place to get wallpaper. That's interfacelift.com. Let's just see if I can find what I'm looking for here. There's just so much stuff. Just amazing. Here we go. Well, I'm sure we're getting close here. Look at me, I had it earlier, and I can't find it today. Isn't that funny? This is, of course, now I just got this this beta version today, so I'm excited to be able to see this running on a desktop as well, because I've been running Feisty for quite some time, actually since the beta of Feisty came out. So this is nice to see that they're really improving the way things work and the way everything is kind of auto-detected. And wouldn't you know that I couldn't find the feature that I wanted to show you, but it's not that very big of a deal, but just to show that it is very, very customizable. There's so much stuff that can be done to make this look the way that you want it to look. And of course the task switching has just come a long way. So the Ubuntu desktop is a Debian-based desktop, which is Linux, and it's been around for some time now, but it is holding about 25% as far as the most recent stats I could find, about 25% of the desktop Linux market. So of all the people who are using Linux, about 25% of them are using Ubuntu. It is a great operating system. It's very stable, and they always have a great turnaround of operating systems. Like I've been running Feisty since, well, I guess that is 7.04, I believe. So that would be 2007, January, February, March, April. So that was the last time they brought it out. So from April to October, they've been working like crazy to bring out a new operating system, and they've gone and done it. So this is ready to go on the 18th. So if you're interested in that, drop over to our forums at tv.robbyf.com, and I'll actually post up a nice little link for you there so that you can take a look at the operating system for yourself. And again, I remind you that you can actually run it from the disk itself. You don't have to install, but I definitely recommend that you do. If you have any questions for us, I'd love to take some questions right now, and all you have to do is just drop onto our website at tv.robbyf.com. Alternatively, you can get me on MSN, tv@robbyf.com, and you can email that same address as well. So I do have a couple of questions here coming in, so I'll just take a look here. And I should mention that Category 5 is a free service, so if you'd like to call in, long distance charges are all that apply, 705-739-1056. If you have Skype, you can call into that number. and save some pennies. Okay. Okay, looking at episode 2, we covered one of the questions that we had come in from Holly, was asking about getting her Acer Orbicam working on her laptop. And she had just dropped me a line saying that she didn't uninstall her current drivers, but she did try to install the drivers that we recommended. But it's not working. So again, I must reiterate, Holly, that you do have to first remove the drivers that you have in there. You mentioned that in your remove programs list in in Vista, you're seeing the 2 copies of the drivers, perhaps 3 now that you've installed extra ones. You definitely want to get those out first. Don't be afraid to, like, as long as you're removing the right thing, don't remove stuff that looks critical. But we're just working with your Orbicam right now, and of course it's not working right now anyway, so it's safe to remove what you see there that carries the Acer Orbicam drivers. You know what you're seeing there. So the ones that you see in that list, you want to get those out of there first, and then reboot your computer, because Windows likes you to reboot it, just because that makes sure that it's doing a tidy uninstall. So if there's anything that it couldn't uninstall, something that was locked up when it tried to remove it, that can be removed during the boot up process. So you want to get those out, reboot your computer, and then go grab that driver that I recommended for you last week. I won't repost the link because it's in the episode 2 forum, but let us know how that goes. Make sure you remove them, then install the new ones, okay? Alright, we're taking phone calls at 705-739-1056. If you have any questions with regards to technology, all you have to do is give me a call. Also, you can drop me an email or an MSN at the same address, tv@robbyf.com. We're going to jump right back to our Ubuntu desktop that we're working on here. And now one of the things that they're really priding themselves on is the fact that they've added better support for plug-and-play printers. Now, this is something that typically in Linux, well, you know what, it hasn't been bad, and certainly Ubuntu has done a really great job in the past. I've never had a problem with Feisty or anything like that. Even my printers that would be considered a little more difficult to set up, I haven't really had much trouble with, but then again, I'm not really an end user, so with the new Gutsy Gibbon desktop, they have designed it in such a way that that it's supposed to automatically detect your printer and install the drivers for you without need for disk or anything like that. So what I wanted to do today, just because this is my first time trying Gutsy as well, is just plug in a printer and see what happens. So let's give that a go. I'm just going to, what I've done is I've got a HP Business Inkjet 1100 series printer that I've just dropped up here. I haven't plugged it into the computer yet, so I'm just going to drop that right into the USB port. So if we just watch our desktop, let's see what happens. And we're both going to learn this at the same time because I haven't done this yet. So this is as real as TV gets. Alright, I'm plugging in the USB port now. And so far there haven't been any pop-ups or anything. Oh, there's something going on up at the top. I see a little magnifying glass that's just popped up. And it says no documents queued. So I guess that's a print queue already. That is what it is. It's a print queue. Could it be that it's already installed it without even having to prompt for anything? Let's just Oh, look at that. HP Business Inkjet 1100 is ready for printing. I pushed the only button that there was, which is configure, and look at that. Everything looks like it's installed and ready to go. Unbelievable. Once again, the people at Ubuntu have done it. They've pulled it off, and they've kept up with their promises. And you know what? This is just the beta version of the operating system, so I cannot wait to see what because you figure that the beta version is not as stable as what you come to expect from the operating system. So, and that worked really well. Now I don't know if this printer itself actually works because I've never used it and it's been sitting for some time. So, but I am just going to send a job to it just to see if it's going to take a print. It may not even have any ink in it. I'm not sure. But it does look like Ubuntu. See, it's got the print job. It's ready to go. So we'll see if that comes out. Obviously a superb feature on Ubuntu's part. So if you've ever had trouble setting up a printer in Linux, well, it looks like look no further than Gutsy Gibbon, because they've they've made that more simple than even I expected. I kind of thought that I'd have to follow a couple of prompts. That was pretty awesome. So I've also got a scanner here that I'd like to try. It's just, and I'm just using generic stuff that I've just got sitting around. HP printer. I've got a Canon scanner, so nothing that's meant to be quote unquote Linux compatible. It's just standard stuff that you pick up at the local computer store. So, and I honestly don't think that this printer works, but to see it the plug and play works that well is phenomenal. This is just an old printer that came in and should probably go in the garbage, but it hasn't. But that worked. Wonderful. So now why don't we let's give that scanner a test. Now, if you're watching right now, all you have to do to get your question into me is just either email or MSN me at tv@robbyf.com, and you can also give us a phone call if you like. It's 705-739-1056. This is a free service, and all you have to do is just email, MSN, or call in, and I'll be happy to answer your technological questions. It doesn't necessarily have to do with what we're demonstrating with Ubuntu today. That's just something that I wanted to show you. But if you have any questions, if you're having trouble with Windows, any version of Windows, any version of Linux, I'll be happy to assist with that. Even general technologies such as digital cameras or printers or scanners or pretty much anything. If you stump me, then good for you. But if I know the answers for you, I'd be very, very happy to help you out, and there's no charge for that for you. So it's a little bit of a bonus for you. I love those effects. Isn't that awesome? Okay, now I'm going to drop that scanner in. So I've just gone and put a scanner up here. It's just a flatbed Canon system here. So let's plug that in and see if anything happens. So I'm going to unplug the printer, which didn't print because it's a bogus printer, but not Ubuntu's fault. Okay, scanner is now plugged in. So I'm just going to drop right back over to the Ubuntu desktop here, and let's just go straight into our GIMP graphic editor. And let's see if that scanner works. This is the first time I've plugged in the scanner, of course. This is the first time that I've even loaded GIMP on this system, because it is a fresh install. So we just go File, Acquire, Xsane, and then the device dialog. And let's see what happens here. Alright, well, it looks like it's taking, so let's just throw something in there. See what I have here that we can scan. Maybe just the manual from my motherboard. How's that work? Okay, so I'm going to just drop this in the scanner. Not like I need to tell you how to use a scanner, but it's kind of impressive if this works right out of the box. Just plug and play. Again, now I'm just going to push Acquire Preview here. Again, looking at this thinking, well, we didn't have to install any drivers, we didn't have to put in a disk even, we didn't have to do anything. Look at that, it's scanning right in. Unbelievable. Now I've currently got that set to grayscale. I guess that was just the default, but we can change that over to full color. Okay, let's try another preview, see how that comes out. So, the common misconception with the Linux operating systems is that, there tends to be a misconception that, there's Windows and there's Mac. And the reason that I want to point out to you that the Linux operating system is worth looking into is because of the fact that it is, and it's free. And, the misconception is that, in particular, well, there's a few things that are misconceptions about Linux. One is, of course, that people say that it's not compatible with hardware. I mean, we've just plugged in a printer and it detected it and installed it perfectly. We just plugged in a scanner, and with no disks and no downloads, no configuration whatsoever, we've gone and brought that straight into the scanner interface. So what we're seeing here is that, okay, the myth, if you will, that Linux has trouble with hardware, it's really, that might have been the case a long time ago, but Linux has really closed the gap on the desktop operating system market, and things are really looking up for the Linux operating system. Look at that. That's awesome. So there we are. There's my scan. So that was absolutely simple. One of the other misconceptions about Linux is, for some reason, okay, you're looking at the desktop there. For some reason, people believe that it's ugly, or not as intuitive, or not as pretty looking as some of the other operating systems out there, and I gotta say, that is definitely a misconception. I mean, here we are looking at this operating system right now, and unbelievably beautiful. This thing is just fabulous. And this is Ubuntu Gutsy Gibbon that we're looking at today. Now let's get a couple of things loaded up here. Look at this. Now, is that not absolutely astounding? And we can move these things around. We can drop that onto any window. So now, when you get the Ubuntu or Linux desktop operating system, it comes with a great suite of software packages. You've got, well, now you saw there I have Mozilla Firefox up and loaded. That's included with the operating system, newest version. You get the OpenOffice suite. And what that is basically your Word-compatible word processor, Excel-compatible spreadsheets, PowerPoint-compatible presentations program. You saw me when I was scanning there, brought up the GIMP, and that's version 2.4 with the new version of Ubuntu. And that's basically like a Photoshop. And don't come against me for saying that, but it is, it's a Linux kind of equivalent to Photoshop. Of course, Photoshop is, it deals with the 16 and 32-bit images, but that's beside the point. Essentially, from the standpoint of a new user, GIMP is everything that you're going to need for graphic manipulation. If you're a web designer, it's perfect for doing web design. It's great for manipulating your own personal photos and things like that. It's not until you get into the real commercial and high-end graphics that you're going to need something a little higher end than that. So it has all the tools, all the filters, and it's a wonderful application that's included, again, free of charge with the operating system. So it's absolutely wonderful. The version of OpenOffice that is included with Ubuntu Gutsy is 2.3. And of course, every time that they bring out a new version of the application, it's going to automatically update itself through your updates up here. And I'll show you that in just a second, but we'll just bring this guy up. And even if you are a Microsoft Office user, you'll be very familiar with the interface of OpenOffice. It's designed pretty much to be very similar in that, even the hotkeys and a lot of the the way that it looks, the way that it feels and acts, it's very easy to get used to. And not only that, but it's compatible with a lot of, if not all of the document types that Microsoft Office uses, and then some. See, now I can see from this, now I just brought up an open dialog here, and the file types that this program supports. I mean, we've got your Microsoft Word from 97 all the way up to XP, even version 95, rich text. But then you get into stuff like Lotus and WinWord and Word 2003, Word 2007, Microsoft Works, I mean going way back, Word Perfect. So there's all these different programs that you can, that this application is compatible with. Look at this enormous list of file types that you're able to open. So the great thing about this as well is that using the OpenOffice application, there's pretty much not a lot of stuff that anyone could ever email you that it very much makes your computer universal, because if somebody emails you an attachment, you need to be able to open that attachment, and OpenOffice definitely gives you that ability. And plus it's able to export to PDF, and again, that's something that you normally may have to pay for with Adobe Acrobat, but with OpenOffice you can actually save it directly to PDF. But then Ubuntu Gutsy is also including a printer driver, so that from any application, including your web browser, anything at all, you can print directly to PDF. So jumping right back here, now, we're going to deal with a couple more misconceptions about the Linux operating system, but I'd love to take some questions if anyone has any questions. And it's fine if you want to just watch as well, but the purpose of this show is not just for me to visually entertain you or woo you with new technologies and show you the new operating systems and things like that, but I'm actually here to answer your questions, and that's really what I want to do with this show, is be able to provide you a free opportunity to get answers to your questions. So if you have any technological questions, all you have to do is just go onto our website at tv.robbyf.com. You can also MSN or email me at the same address. It's tv@robbyf.com. All that talk and you get thirsty. Okay, now I told you I'd show you this, so I will. How Ubuntu updates itself. So you're going to get a little prompt every now and then that's going to ask you, or let you know that there's updates. Now, Windows does something similar in that you get your Windows updates, but Windows updates generally only have to do with the operating system itself. The difference with Ubuntu and with any Linux operating system that supports the updating features, and I think I haven't seen one that doesn't, this is not just updating your operating system and all your core components. Like I see things in here that have to do with my kernel, I see things that are drivers, and not only that, but it also updates every single application that's on your computer. So if they bring out a new version of OpenOffice, if there's a new word processor version, if there's a new version of the particular email client that you choose to use, it doesn't matter if it's from, if it came with the operating system or if you installed it after the fact. As long as you use the Synaptic or the add remove programs to do it, to do the installation, it will automatically tell you when there's an update, and you can just follow through with updating that software directly through the internet. Again, no disks, no complicated having to download and compile the stuff yourself. Basically, this is a huge long list, 393 updates available to me right now. That's of course because I just installed this, and because this is a beta version of the software, Ubuntu is working like crazy right now to make this software stable for the release in 9 days. So of course there's going to be tons and tons of updates over the next couple of weeks. So if I wanted to install these updates, all I would have to do is just click this great big Install Updates button, and that's it. It will just go through and it will do everything for me. There's nothing to it. So that keeps your computer and all of your applications up to date all the time. Absolutely beautiful. Some of the great things that you can do, well, we were looking at some of the desktop effects and things like that. I won't get too much into that because you're going to play with this, but once you've installed Ubuntu or testing Ubuntu, you'll want to go through Compiz Config Setting Manager, which if you've got it installed is going to go under your preferences, under Advanced Desktop Effects Settings, or the console command, or just from Bosch is CCSM, and you can use apt-get to install that if you don't have it. If you have any questions about how to do that, just let me know. But this basically allows you to configure the entire special effects end of Compiz Fusion. If you have any questions for me, now we've got another half hour to the show. I'd love to take your questions. All you have to do is MSN me, tv@robbyf.com. You can also email that same address. We've set up a special phone line for you to be able to call in directly to the show, and you'll be live on the air. And you can call me up at 705-739-1056. Another great feature of Gutsy Gibbon that they've been working on is the desktop search feature. And I'm not actually demonstrating that today because they haven't quite got it set up the way that they're going to have it set up when the operating system is released. It's called Tracker, and it can actually be found directly on your applications menu. Under Accessories, you see Tracker Search Tool. And essentially what this is going to do is allow you to search through your entire drive basically in an instant. I've heard it compared to Google Search, Google Desktop, where you can just, let's say you download some files and you're not really sure where you put them or anything like that. All you have to do is just remember a phrase that's in the file or anything at all, type it in there, and almost instantaneously it's going to pop up. You create a new file, it's automatically going to get indexed into the system. So it's going to make it a lot easier for you to find those files that are hiding among all your other files on your computer. I know for me, now I've got 0.75 terabytes in my computer, so I think that's right, 750 gigabytes of hard drive space. When you have that amount of space, I find I tend to kind of lose track of where I put stuff. Sometimes, you know, I'll create something beautiful, I'll make a video, or I'll make a song or something, and I'll save it somewhere ingenious where I thought it was smart to save it at the time, and then I'll have no idea where I put it. So this feature is going to make it a lot easier for me personally to be able to find the files that are sitting among 750 gigabytes of hard drive space, because that can get pretty vast. It becomes a wasteland of files. So, and I think this kind of thing, this kind of innovation is very important, because as hard drives are getting bigger, and as, you know, like 750 gigs, that's huge. When I was first starting into computers, it was 2 megabytes for the hard drives, and then we were excited. My biggest thing was when we got our 1 gig hard drive, and that cost so much money to get that. But now with 750 gigs and then growing, I mean, I could put more in there at this point. There's technology to do that. It's just insane how much you can lose stuff. Just imagine the amount of space and the amount of files that you fit on there. Okay. Just looking at MSN. If you'd like to MSN any technological questions, just drop me a line at tv@robbyf.com. If you'd like to call in for support, 705-739-1056. You're watching Category 5 Technology TV. I'm your host, Robbie Ferguson, and I'd be happy to answer your technological questions. So all you have to do is go to our website at tv.robbyf.com. Any questions that you may have for me with regards to technology, regardless of whether they're relevant so far to this episode or not, I'm happy to help you out. As well, you can contact me by email, tv@robbyf.com. And of course, you can also add that as a buddy to your MSN list, tv@robbyf.com, and I'll be happy to answer your questions via MSN as well. So far today, we've just basically been looking at the new Ubuntu Gutsy Gibbon, which is the 7.10 desktop operating system. It's a Linux operating system based on Debian, and they've really come a long way with the new Gutsy release, which comes out on October 18th, 2007. Not to be redundant, but for those of you just joining us, if you have any questions, please do let me know. Let's jump right back to our Gutsy desktop here. You'll notice the screensaver too. This is a GL screensaver. It's just a beautiful kind of a rendering of fireworks display. That's kind of obvious, I know, but the reason I say it, even state the obvious, is the fact that this is, again, included with the operating system. There's several screensavers that are included. And to me, that's just a bonus. I love to have a nice screensaver, and that certainly is something that looks good on my screen. And I love the smoke effects and the 3D kind of fly-through and things like that. And I've actually been using the screensaver for quite some time as well, but it's nice that it is included with the operating system. So let's just see what else we've got still open here. We can close all this kind of stuff down. And I would just like to show you another misconception with Linux, and that namely being games. Can you play video games on your Linux desktop operating system? Now, back in the day when I was into the LAN tournaments and things like that, and I still enjoy that occasionally, but having 2 kids and a wife and full-time work, it becomes progressively harder and harder to get together with the buddies and just hang out and build 12 computers and put them all together and play a game. But I was totally into, and we were all into Unreal Tournament, and I'm talking Game of the Year edition from '99, like the original Unreal Tournament. It was just phenomenal the way that the gameplay and just the cooperative play, the capture the flag, the levels were awesome, and there's just so much stuff to that game. So when I look at Linux and I think, okay, if I'm going to have my buddies over, I want to have some games that are going to be comparable to how we used to play it. So one of the so I've basically put on the top 2 games that are currently in, when I do have friends over, these are the top 2 that we're currently playing, and these again are absolutely free to download and install on your computer, but they do require now these versions are Linux. I'm sure that they're available. Yeah, both of these games are available for Windows as well. So that's cool too, because if your buddies are using Windows and you're on Linux, it doesn't matter, because you're going to be able to play together even if you're on different operating systems. So I'm going to post links to both of these games right on the forum at tv.robbyf.com. This is Nexius, and it's a free program from nexius.com. And it's not spelt how it sounds, so again, I'll put that link up for you. This one really brought us back to our Unreal Tournament roots, and it really made us feel at home when we were playing the head-to-head deathmatch and just running around and just having a good time and fragging each other like crazy. So maps in this are really great, and we just, it was a fun time. So you can see it is very reminiscent to the old Unreal Tournament. Now, I've just got a couple of really dumb bots in here right now. So the graphics are, half decent. Again, it really does bring me back to Unreal Tournament, though, and I like that. Like, that's what I'm going for. That was a great scene. That will definitely make our screenshot gallery. So that is Nexius, and we're going to be looking at another game in just a few moments as well. But I just wanted to show you that, here we are on a Linux operating system. It's absolutely free. We've got free games that are just, that one just is nostalgic for me. It just takes me right back to Unreal Tournament. But it is, gameplay's excellent, and they have got the, the modern alphas and really cool explosions and things like that. So it's not like Unreal Tournament in the technology necessarily, as it just is reminiscent of that old style game. If you have any questions, give me a call at 705-739-1056. And you can also MSN me or email me at tv@robbyf.com. I'd be happy to answer any technological questions that you have right here on Category 5. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a baseball cap today, funny story. I was wearing a baseball cap when I went fishing last week. We had a great trip, me and my friend Ben. But we were out on the boat for 5 or 6 hours and brought home 11 fish. It was a great day, but I ended up getting a sunburn right on the back of my head, right where my cap opens up. So I'm actually wearing this right here. That would be where my sunburn is. I'm wearing this just to save the embarrassment of the whole world seeing my silly looking sunburn. I believe Phil has just joined us as well. Welcome to the show, Phil. Today we're looking at the new Ubuntu Gutsy Gibbon, which is being released on the 18th of October. Just 9 days to go. If you have any questions, make sure you give me a call at 705-739-1056. And of course, you can also MSN or email me at tv@robbyf.com. I welcome any kind of questions, regardless of whether they're relevant to Gutsy Gibbon or not, which is what we're focusing the episode on today. Any questions that you have whatsoever, this is what the show is about. It's just to be able to be a forum for people to be able to come on and free of charge be able to ask their questions and get some support right here live on the air. So we're just going to go back to our Gutsy desktop and just take another look here. And if you're just coming in, you can watch the archive after the show, and you'll be able to review everything that we've gone through so far. Gutsy Gibbon is the new Ubuntu desktop. Some will call it Ubuntu, which is a Debian-based operating system. And every 6 months or so, they release a new version of the operating system. And Gutsy is, you know, and it always is with Ubuntu. It always is revolutionary. Everything that they do when they release a new version of the operating system, it's state-of-the-art. It's always right at the top of its game. So with them releasing Gutsy Gibbon, some of the features that are integrated into the operating system are absolutely cutting edge, such as including the Compiz Fusion 3D system in the operating system in such a way that it actually detects if your hardware is compatible with the 3D, and if it is, it will automatically activate it for you. Pardon me. When Ubuntu Gutsy Gibbon detects your hardware and activates the 3D, it will actually do so in a very classy way, in that it just kind of gives you some of the special effects. It doesn't give you the cube, and it doesn't give you all the fancy stuff like that. It does give you the I think it's called, well, I won't make up names yet because I'm just learning it, but it does give you this plugin right off the bat. But many of the features are kind of disabled just so that it's more familiar to new users, and then you can activate the more advanced 3D stuff like the cube if you like to. Phil's just asking about the versions of KDE on the Ubuntu desktop, so I'm just going to take a look at that. I personally am a GNOME user myself, so I'm just going to, so I'm not familiar with much about the Ubuntu project. This won't take long to find this. If you have any questions, please MSN me or email me at tv@robbyf.com, or if you'd like to call in your questions, you may call at 705-739-1056. Okay, Phil, so with regards to your question about KDE, it looks like version 4 is still in beta, from what I can see. The version that's included with Ubuntu 7.10, which is the Gutsy Gibbon, is 3.5.7, which I would assume is going to be the latest, what's considered stable version. However, there is a package available that if you would like to install with KDE 4, that would be absolutely simple for you to do. So you can just drop that new package in and upgrade that just like you would with any software within Ubuntu or Kubuntu. So no, it's not version 4 just yet because of the beta nature of that, but it is available to you if you'd like to install it. We've got about 12 minutes left of the show. If you have any questions, please drop me a line, tv@robbyf.com, or you can call me up at 705-739-1056. In just a moment, we're going to be jumping back to our Ubuntu Gutsy Gibbon system and taking a look at the Tremulous game, which is a very cool game. It was voted #1 at our last LAN party, and it was pretty neat because usually we just do the deathmatch or capture the flag, things like that, but it actually is a really good, like it has a storyline to it, so you would have to, well, I'll kind of let you see. You want to try it, but how can let me pull up my review here. I've got a little website where we review some games, and you know, when we try these new things, we go over them, and Phil lost his wireless connection just as I was answering his question, so sorry about that, Phil. You'll have to watch the video archive. I'll just answer his question on MSN here. So Tremulous actually got 9 out of 10 stars, and we call it an objective-based game. So the neat thing, and I'll forward you along the link at the forum at tv.robbyf.com, but if you're into objective-based, exciting, fast-paced games, this is definitely something you want to try. You can be either an alien or a human. The aliens are basically like jumbo-sized spiders, and when I say spiders, they're, you know, monstrous. Yeah, they're frightening. And then the humans, you have to basically whether you're an alien or a human, you've got to build up your base. So, and then you've got to at the same time be trying to destroy the other's base as well. So this is another free game, which is unbelievable because it's absolutely astounding. Let's just take a quick look at that. I'm not actually going to play the game, just because it is so intensely fast-paced when you get a bunch of players in there, but just to show you kind of the graphical content and how things work. And again, I'm not doing this to promote games, and I'm not, you know, and certainly I'm more into the deathmatch kind of thing and first-person shooters, but just to show you that Linux does have some excellent offerings in the gaming end of things. So, and this is graphically one of the, it's just astounding. Now you'll see that I've increased the brightness so you're not getting the shadows and things that you would normally get in the game, and that's just so that you can see it on the webcast. I didn't want it to be too dark. So I'm just going to be a jumbo spider here. And so as a spider I can move awfully fast, and here's my lair, and these are my alien kind of things that help me to respawn when I die. So the humans have to try to destroy my lair, and I have to do the same to them. Neat thing about being the spider, they've added a really nice twist to this game in that when you're the alien, you can do a lot. You basically get a whole new dimension to this three-dimensional game by being able to climb on any wall, any roof. If I want to go upside down, it's totally confusing when you're first learning it, but it's absolutely amazing. I can sit here up in the roof and watch for somebody to come down below there, because that's the floor right above me there. And then when I'm ready, I can just jump right down and just start attacking. So that's a very cool thing that they've added to the game. So I'm just kind of running around with no purpose here, but basically what we want to do as an alien is build up our alien base so that we can respawn if we get killed. And it's up to the humans to try to destroy that base, and vice versa. They have to create their base, and we have to try to destroy that. So if you have a number of players, then you definitely, you know, this is going to be one of the better games because it is objective based. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot of depth, and it's almost like a board game of video games. So and Phil is just tossing at me about enemy territory being amazing, and that's absolutely true. It's a phenomenal game, and it's listed on our top 3 as well. It is in the number 3 position, only because we found that I guess there weren't as many levels to that, and it just kind of. But I won't say that, because again, Enemy Territory is another one that's an objective-based Linux game. It's free of charge, and it's phenomenal. It's more like a World War II simulation. And you can actually, I'll post you the link for that as well to the review. That one got an 8 out of 10 on our LAN party review, but excellent. And we've also got videos for each of these games directly on our reviews. But back at Tremulous, so yeah, I have to agree with you about that. Phil, what I'll do is I'll post the links to the reviews on the forum just after the show at www.tv.robbyf.com. And that's just because I'm not sure that the URL will forever remain the same. So rather than stating it in the video here, which is going to be constant, I'd rather just post the link so that I can change that link down the road if I need to, so that we don't have dead links in the video. So back at Tremulous, an objective-based game, and I'm getting tongue-tied. It's got phenomenal graphics, phenomenal gameplay, and it is very much like a board game in its gameplay. So when you've got a lot of guys over, a lot of people. Girls like to play games too, don't take offense. It's just awesome. It's like we just have a lot of fun with that one as well. So, and that, you know, I just wanted to demonstrate that you know, Linux does have some great games, and those are just a couple of them that I've gone over today. Definitely check out Enemy Territory as well, as Phil was saying. We had so much fun with Enemy Territory. We got in touch with some people down in the States that had a fast server, and we all hooked up and started playing head-to-head, and they were the good guys and we were the bad guys, and it just was the most amazing fun that you can have. And because it's objective-based, you're in World War II kind of simulation. You have to do things like plant bombs on the army tanks so that the enemy can't use the tank, and then they have to come out and they've got to try to repair it with their ratchet set. If the bomb has gone off. And so it's a lot of fun because, you know, not only is it's not like a typical deathmatch, it's being objective based. There's so much more to it, and there's a lot of depth to the game. So a lot of fun, and it sounds like Phil, anytime you want a LAN party, my man, let's hook up. Tremulous, Phil's just saying that he can only play Tremulous for a few minutes. It takes a while to get used to the gameplay and to understand the actual purpose of the game. And we actually thought, after playing that, and I just played it one-on-one with my buddy Jeff, and we did have a lot of fun, but it was really hard with only 2 people. That, you know, there's not enough, you've got to have somebody building, and you've got to have somebody repairing, and you've got to have somebody attacking, and so there's got to be that, I would say, so based on that, you know, 3 on each team would be a good start. If you've got any less than that, any less than 6 players, it's going to be pretty hard to play Tremulous. So, yeah, and he's just saying that he only played with a few people, so it seemed really weird. So, yeah, you can see my point, how because you're trying to destroy the enemy's base, and you're trying to build up your base, and you're trying to repair your base, you can't be all things at once. So if you've only got a few people playing, it's really difficult to play that game. So, yeah, 6 people or more for Tremulous. Enemy Territory, you can play with 2 people and have a great time, but the nice thing about Enemy Territory is it's got fabulous servers. It's always really easy to pull in some people off the internet and play with them as well. So you can get, you know, an extra 3 players just like that, and there's no lag, and it's just phenomenal. And of course, Enemy Territory is another game that is cross operating system compatible. So if you've got some friends who use Windows versus you using Linux or vice versa, you can play against each other as long as you're using the same version. Phil used to play Enemy Territory every Friday night. How long ago was that, my friend? That sounds awesome. We used to do Unreal Tournament a long time ago. But are there bots in Tremulous? I don't think so. I've never seen any, but I've never tried. And I think that, yeah, I think that we would have probably found it if there were. I don't think there are. I might be wrong, but we've only got a couple minutes left of the show. I'd love to take some questions. Just give me a call, 705-739-1056. We're right at the 11th hour right now. Or you can also MSN me or email at tv@robbyf.com. Phil's just asking if I use TeamSpeak. We actually, Phil, you know what I did? And I know, like, you know, I don't want to brag or anything, but we've got a 100 megabit backbone to the internet. So I actually put together a 3U system that just was designated specifically for gaming, and this was a couple years ago, but it was awesome. And we did have TeamSpeak server installed. It was a Linux box, so it was headless, and had TeamSpeak server, Unreal Tournament server, with, like, I must have downloaded like 1,000 maps into that thing, and I created my own bot system for Unreal Tournament, so they were very intelligent, realistic bots. So yeah, we've used TeamSpeak, but because I like kind of the hangout kind of aspect to playing games, that's more what I'm in it for, because I'm not a gamer. I tend to like to get together with people and set up the computers all in the same room kind of thing. So we often have not needed TeamSpeak because we usually don't do it through the internet. We usually do it right on site. So, any more questions? We've got just about a minute for the rest of the show. So just drop me a line, tv@robbyf.com. Yeah, Phil was just saying that he used to run something similar, but had to run it off of several connections. Pardon me, because they had DSL connections, and yeah, that's certainly true. You know what? When we had this server set up on the 100 megabit backbone, which we use for the business, it was awesome. I mean, absolutely no lag. We had people logging in, like people that we knew. It was a closed server, so we had people from Australia, people from the States. My sister-in-law was at that time living out in British Columbia at school, so she'd log in, and then her dad was really into the games with us as well, and we'd all just LAN party, and we'd have like 12 or 15 people playing all at once, absolutely no lag. It was awesome. You're mentioning, Phil's just mentioning a game called, is that a game? BZ Flag? I've never heard of that. bzflag.org is one that Phil says is quite fun, that has to do with army tanks kind of idea. I'm assuming it's like Capture the Flag, Phil, or? few different types of games there. Cool. Well, that's something to check out as well. I'll put a link in the forum just at Phil's recommendation. So do visit our forum. It's www.tv.robbyf.com. Unfortunately, we're out of time for today, but I do appreciate everyone who's been here today, and certainly if you're watching this after the fact in the video archive. Category 5 is a program that we've developed in order to be able to provide you answers to your questions free of charge, so any technological questions. And if you're watching this after the fact, you can actually just go into the forum right on the website, tv.robbyf.com, pardon me. And if you post your questions in the forum that are specific to this particular episode, you'll be able to get an answer that way. Otherwise, tune in every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, and I'll be happy to answer your questions that way. So, thanks again for joining us tonight, and have a wonderful, wonderful night.